Hi guys, Mr. Bruce here. Today another book from the Peppa Pig series. Peppa Pig and the Tooth Fairy. But before we start, eyes watching, ears listening, voices quiet, body calm. Okay. Once upon a time there was a clever little pig named Peppa. She was very proud of her teeth. There she is brushing her teeth. Peppa and her brother George knew how to take care of their teeth, and they brushed them every morning and they brushed them every evening. Brush, 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 brush. Peppa and George loved playing dentist. Peppa would pretend to be the dentist and George would be the assistant. George's toy dinosaur was the patient. "Oh, what lovely clean teeth you have, Mr. Dinosaur," Peppa smiled. "Grrr," said George. George didn't talk that well. He was still too young. One day, after playing their dentist game, Peppa and George were eating their dinner. Suddenly, something fell onto Peppa's plate. Ch-ch, clatter, clatter. It made Peppa jump up. "What was that?" Oh, look, it's a tooth," Daddy Pig laughed. "But where did the tooth come from?" said Peppa Pig. "Look at the tooth on her plate." "Why don't you look in the mirror?" said Mother. Peppa looked in and she had a big gap where her tooth used to be. "Oh no, do we need to go or see Dr. Elephant, dentist?" "Oh no," said Mummy Pig. "It's just a baby tooth. It's meant to fall out." "What do you mean it's meant to fall out?" "It's a tooth that falls out when you're young. Then a new one will grow in its place. That's what Mommy said anyway." "What should I do with my baby teeth?" asked Peppa. "If you place them underneath your pillow, the tooth fairy will come and she will take your tooth and leave you a shiny new coin," said Mommy Pig. A fairy. That evening, while Peppa watched television with her family, she kept thinking and thinking and thinking about the tooth fairy. "When I grow up, I want to be a tooth fairy," said Peppa. Daddy Pig chuckled and said, "What about you, George?" George said, "Dinosaur, dinosaur." George has a very limited vocabulary. "Come on, George," shouted Peppa. "We don't want to miss the tooth fairy." They both ran up the stairs to get ready for bed. "What are you doing, Peppa?" asked Daddy Pig. Peppa was carefully brushing her baby tooth. "I want it to be nice and clean for the tooth fairy," said Peppa. "Isn't that very, very respectful?" Peppa tucked the tooth under her pillow. "Are you sure the tooth fairy will be able to find it?" she asked. "Oh, I promise," said Mommy Pig. "Just you wait and see." "Good night, Peppa and George." "Good night, Mommy." "Good night, Daddy." "I'm going to wait up all night for the tooth fairy," Peppa said. "George, let's not go to sleep." George smiled and nodded, and then shh, she could hear something. "George, did you hear that?" Shh. She climbed down to look at George. He was fast asleep, and it was him making the noise. He was snoring. "I am much better at staying awake than George," Peppa said. Then she settled back into her bed, and after a while, her eyes started to close. She quickly opened them again. "I'm going to stay awake and see the tooth fairy," Peppa said to herself. Shh, she heard him snoring. Shh, but soon she was asleep too. She heard tinkle, tinkle, tinkle. What was that? Who's in the window? It was the tooth fairy. "Hello, Peppa," she whispered. "Would you like a coin in exchange for your tooth?" "Oh, yes." The tooth fairy gently took Peppa's tooth and put a shiny coin in its place. "What a lovely clean tooth," she said. "Thank you very much." And the tooth fairy fluttered away. The next morning, Peppa found the shiny coin under her pillow. "Mummy, the tooth fairy did come after all," she shouted, jumping up and down. "Oh, I wish I'd seen the tooth fairy," Peppa sighed. Next time I'm definitely going to stay awake all night. The end. Okay, guys. I'll be back tomorrow with another Peppa Pig book. Until then, be good to your folks and wash your hands. Bye-bye.